Hare Krishna. Dhanavat Pranam to the assembled devotees. Namaste. All glories to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Srimad Bhagavad-Gita Ki Jai. Chapter 4, The Path of Action, of Knowledge, Jnana-Yoga. Text 5. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna. Tanyaham Veda Sarvani Natvam Veta Parantapa. The Supreme Lord said, O chastised, I have passed through many births. I can remember them all, whereas you, O Arjuna, cannot. Ajopi san avyatyatma bhutanam ishvaropishan prakritim sva adhistaya sambhavamyatma mayaya. Although my eternal form is transcendental to birth and death, and I am the Lord of all beings, I appear within the world in my divine nature, by my sweet will, extending my internal potency. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutadhanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrijamyaham. O Bharata, whenever there is a decline of religion and an uprising of irreligion, I personally make my advent. Prithanya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I appear age after age to deliver the saintly devotees, vanquish the miscreants, and firmly establish true religion. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tatvata. Chaktva deham punar janma naiti mam eti su Arjuna. O Arjuna, one who comes to know thus the truth of my pastimes of divine birth and activities does not undergo rebirth. After giving up this body, he attains me. My grace is revealed to him as my personal transcendental joyful potency, Hladini Shakti. His heart is melted in divine love, and he attains my eternal devotional service. Vitaragha bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashrita. Bhavo jnana tapasa puta madbhavam agataha. Free from attachment, fear, and anger, many persons have taken shelter in me, absorbing their hearts in my services, hearing chanting and remembering. Purified by knowledge and the fire of ordeal, in my service, they attained love for me. Ye yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manusha partha sarvasha. Howsoever people surrender to me, I accordingly reward them. Being the ultimate goal of all paths, I am the objective to be obtained by all. O Partha, all men follow my various paths. Kanchantata karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devata kshipram hi manushe loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Persons who desire the fruit of their actions worship the gods, since in the human plane actions swiftly bear fruit. Persons who desire the fruit of their actions worship the gods, since in the human plane actions swiftly bear fruit. Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagasha. Tasya kartaram apimham vidhyakrutaram abhyayam. The four social divisions, classified according to the material modes of nature and corresponding activities, are made manifest know me to be the non-doer and unchangeable. Namam karmani limpanti name karma phalesvara. Iti mamyo bijanati karmabir nasa bhadyate. I am never implicated by action, nor do I desire the fruits of action. One who knows me thus, as the Supreme Lord, transcendental to worldly action, is never bound by action. Evam gyatva kritam karma purvar api mumukshubi. Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam purvai purvataram kritam. Basic principle. Knowing this basic principle, seekers of liberation in previous times renounced all fruit of work and performed their duties as a selfless offering to me. Likewise, you should adopt this yoga of selfless action, as did the greatly saintly persons of yore. Kim karma kim akarmeti kabhayo pyatra mohita. Tate karma pravakshami yajgatva mokshase subhat. What is action? What is inaction? Even the learned have difficulty understanding this. Hence I shall enlighten you in this matter, knowing which you will be liberated from inauspiciousness. Karmano hyapi bodhavyam cha vikarmana. Akarmanas cha bodhavyam gahana karmano gati. The true nature of action is difficult to comprehend. One should understand prescribed action, prohibited action, and inaction. Karmanya karma ya pasyed akarmani cha karma yaha. Sa buddhi man manusheshu sa yukta krishna karmakrit. One who sees action within inaction and inaction within action is wise among men. He is a yogi and a performer of all actions. Yasyas harve samharambha kama sankalpa varjita. Janhagni dagdha karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. One whose every action is without fruit of desire, and who burns all actions in the fire of knowledge, is described by the wise as learned. Tyaktva karma phalasangam nitya tripto nirashraya. Karmanyabhi pravato pi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Such a person, giving up attachment to the fruits of action, fully content in the eternal bliss within, and free from mundane dependence, though fully active, does nothing at all. Nirashir yata chittatma tyakta sarva parigraha. Sariram kevalam karma kurvan napnoti kilbisham. Desireless, controlling mind and body by the intelligence, and renouncing all possessiveness and acquisition. No sinful or pious reaction is incurred by such a person who may act to acquire mundane objects merely for his bodily sustenance. Yadrichalabha santushto dvandvatito vimatshara. Samasirhavasidho cha krudvapi na sustenance nibhadhyate. content with whatever is readily available, and unaffected by dualities of pleasure and pain, attraction and aversion. Such a person has no envy. He is equipoised, neither elated nor dejected in success or failure. Though active, he is not bound by any action. Gata sangasya muktasya gyatvastita chaitasa rata karma samhagram pravilyate. For one who is detached, enlightened, and liberated, all his actions performed in the spirit of sacrifice are perfectly dissipated. Commentary by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. The actions of one practicing the yoga of selfless action do not lead to apurva, as considered by the philosophers known as karma mimamsaka. According to their ethical yet atheistic ideology, the karma mimamsakas and rationalists claim that pious actions produce an or mundane seen subtle potency known as apurva, which must fructify at the appropriate time after death. Their conception that this fruit can later be shared by others is meant to show the eternality of karma, or action, but it ignores the presence of the supreme autocrat. So the statement of Sri Krishna, Samhagram pravilyate, all actions are dissipated, ought not be misinterpreted to mean that the actions of liberated souls cause some such remote worldly consequence, or apurva. Rather, the Lord indicates that the actions offered to him by the selfless karma yogi do not cause any subsequent reaction to be either enjoyed or suffered by others in this mundane plane. Brahmarpanam brahmahavir brahmagnau brahmana hutam. Brahmaivatena gantavyam brahma karma samadhina. The ladle is Brahman, the oblation is Brahman, offered by Brahman into the fire of Brahman. One whose consciousness is fully absorbed in Brahman, in action, certainly attains to Brahman, the Absolute. Daivam ibha pare yagyam yogina paryu pashyate. Brahmagnav apare yagyam yagyanen ivo pajuvati. Some yogis offer sacrifices to the demigods, and others offer the self into the fire of Brahman by vibrating the pranava mantra Om. Text 26. Shrotrad inindriyananye samyam agnishu juvati. Sabdadin vishayan anya indriyagnishu juvati. Some offer their senses of hearing, touching, seeing, tasting, and smelling into the fires of self control. Yet others offer the sense objects of sound, touch, form, taste, and smell into the fires of the senses. Sarvan indriya karmani prana karmani chapare. Atma samyama yoga now juvati jnana dipite. Again, there are the yogis who offer all the functions of the senses and the life forces into the yogic fire of self purification ignited by knowledge. Dravya yagyas tapo yagya yoga yagyas tatapare. Svadhyaya jnana yagyas cha yataya samshita vrataha. Sincere in their practices and faithful to their vows, some persons sacrifice their possessions, some undergo strict penances as sacrifice, some practice the eightfold mystic yoga as a sacrifice, and yet others perform knowledge sacrifice by singing and introspectively studying the Vedas. Apane juvati pranam prane panam tatapare. Pranapanagati rudva pranayama parayana. Apare nityatahara pranan praneshu juvati. Others practice breath control, closing the right nostril and inhaling through the left. They bring the ascending air into union with the descending, closing the left nostril and exhaling through the right. They similarly offer the descending air into the ascending. Then, closing both nostrils, they check both ascending and descending airs. Yet, other practitioners of sense control offer all the senses into the life airs by reducing their food intake. Text 30. Sarve piete yagya vidho yagyakshayita kalmashaha. Yagya shishtamrata bujo yanti brahma sanatanam. All these persons are knowers of sacrifice, purified by sacrifice, enjoying the nectarian remnants of sacrifice. They entertain the eternal plane of the Absolute. Enjoying the nectarian remnants of sacrifice, they attain to the eternal plane of the Absolute. Thus ends our reading for today. All glories to Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to our Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees Ki Jai Jai Sripad Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Sripad Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Jai Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Pramanandi